Well, first of all, I wanted to talk to you because you were obviously one of the founding members of the church, but you told me the other day that you did not grow up in Yadkin County.
No.
Okay. What? Now, I know it was, I assume it's because your dad and you traveling around with him.
Yes.
Okay.
I was born in Winston-Salem. We lived in Winston. We lived for a time with my grandparents in Copeland. Then we moved to Charlotte. Then we moved to Queens in New York. That was quite an adjustment from East Bend. Well, I left out East Bend because Daddy went to work at CBS, and he wanted to try it out before he moved the whole family to be sure that was the right decision. And so we lived with my grandmother in East Bend. So we went from East Bend to New York City. And I guess everybody thought we were the Beverly Hillbillies in 1951. But I was in the 4th grade, and I finished high school there. Then I came to Greensboro, to WC. It was still WC then. It's unusual because today was my graduation day from WC 61 years ago today. I graduated from college. Mm-hmm. And the next fall of 1963 was when it became UNCG. So I was the last class of WC.
Now, what's WC?
Women's College of the University of North Carolina.
So after you graduated WC, was Philip in the picture at that point?
Philip was in the picture early on in WC. He was a student at State, and I had known him. My brother came to high school here in Yadkinville, and so I knew some of the young people through my brother. And Philip and I had dated just on a single date. We double dated, but it was just a one-time thing the summer before I started college in 1959. And at that point in time, when State played Carolina in football, they called it Consolidated University Day. And back in the dark ages then, you dressed up to go to football games. The guys wore jackets and shirts and ties, and the girls wore dresses and high-heel shoes.
Really?
And all that. And so they would take a bus from WC to wherever the game was. And that year it happened to be at Chapel Hill. And I ran into the group that I was with, which obviously WC, a women's college, it was all girls that I was with, ran into him in the parking lot at the football game. And so then we got together again, and the rest is history.
All right, Carolyn.
And it was a gray dress and red 3-inch heels.
Carolyn. Now, I do want to ask, just going back a little bit, you moved from East Bend to New York City because of your dad's job. Now, just to tell our listeners, what did your dad do for CBS?
He did audio for CBS, and it started out first, in radio, then into TV, and he did audio like Ed Sullivan's Show, and I can't even remember all the shows that he did. And after we were married, they moved in 1964, moved to Washington, and he worked in audio there.
What was it like to be Carolyn Perkins and move from East Bend to New York City?
I thought it was exciting.
Did you really?
I did. I adjusted much better to it than my brother did. He never did adjust, and that's why he came back down here to school. But I thought it was an exciting time, and sort of, I don't know, I guess I had my 9th birthday just right after we moved, and I thought it was a glamorous kind of thing, even though we lived in a 2-bedroom upstairs apartment in Queens, just right at the line between Queens, which is still in New York City, and Nassau, which is outside the city limits, was right behind our apartment building. And went to public school in New York, and the schools there are the elementary schools are all PS, were public school, and a number. So our first year I was at PS 115, and that went to a certain grade, then 133, then 172, and then Martin Van Buren High School. And that's where I finished high school at 17.
What was your favorite thing to do in the city?
Well, where we lived was a lot like living in Winston. It was out away from the city, and I guess at that point in time, riding bicycles, that was a neat thing to be able to do. But it was like living in the city, but not downtown city, more like living in Winston.
Okay. All right.
And the apartments that are there, I can't think of the name of the road in Winston. When you come out of Baptist Hospital and cut left and you go down, there's old apartments that are there that look just exactly like the ones on Langdale Street.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you pay much attention? Now, when did you go to, when did you first move up there?
1951, January.
Okay.
1951.
Did you pay any attention to sports at all?
Nothing other than the fact that Daddy did, once he went into TV, he had to work doing the sound for football games. But I never went to games and all. But I always liked watching hockey.
Did you really?
Yes. But I never went to a game. But Daddy promised us when we had to move that we would get a TV. And, of course, back then they were just little bitty things that were black and white and went off at a certain time at night after our bedtime. But, yeah, I like to watch it.
So were you a Rangers fan?
No, I wasn't a fan of any of them. I didn't know enough to be a fan. I just liked to watch them just get out there and skate.
Get out there and skate and fight?
And fight. That's part of hockey.
All right. The real Carolyn Graham's coming out. All right. So you and Philip got married, and you were a public school teacher here in Yadkin County for...
Well, when we got married 2 weeks after college graduation, and we lived in Danville, Virginia.
Okay.
And so my first teaching contract was at George Washington High School in Danville. And I taught there 3.5 years until David came along. And back then they didn't do maternity leave. So if you didn't plan well, you didn't have your job because of someone else coming in to fill your place if you had to leave during the year to have a child.
Yeah.
And then the next fall, that fall of 1967, I taught at Chatham High School, which is in the county outside of Danville, about 25 miles from Danville.
You mean to tell me that David Graham was born in Virginia?
Yes, in Danville.
I did not know he was a foreigner like me.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Philip came back to work here in North Carolina, so I did not teach but 1 year at Chatham. And that fall, I started at Forbush High School, which is the second year it was open.
Now, what year was that?
1968.
Okay. So you're teaching school.
Mm-hmm.
You've got David,
mm-hmm.
and Philip is working.
Mm-hmm.
When did Jason come along?
1973.
Okay. All right.
They didn't have maternity leave in Yadkin County either.
That's so funny. That is so funny because I was born in 1967 and my kid brother was born in 1973.
Really?
Yes.
Wonders never cease.
Yeah, isn't that great? Now, I do want to jump ahead and talk about Maplewood and how it got formed. I know that you were one of the founding members.
Yes.
What is it like to form a brand new church?
Well, it was sort of an unusual thing because when we lived in Charlotte, I was raised in the Methodist church, joined the Baptist church after we were married. We joined the church in Danville because that was the place that felt like home, and been a Baptist ever since. But in the home in Charlotte, St. Paul United Methodist Church was formed in my mother and daddy's home. And I wasn't old enough to be able to list my name on the members because the Methodist Church had to be a certain age. But I thought it was sort of unusual that had happened in my past history. But it was an awesome experience. Not the reason for getting started, and we won't go into all that. That was history. And looking back, it was God leading us to start a new church on this hill where we are. And it was difficult to leave. That was the church we were married in, and Philip's home church. And it was difficult to leave, but we felt very strongly that God was leading us to do that along with all the others, charters members, and wouldn't change any of it. Just so many wonderful, wonderful memories.
You and Philip were part of the core group that actually built this building.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know that you laid the bricks or whatever.
No, but I threw bricks. I threw bricks the day they were here, threw them up to scaffolding. Mm-hmm. And the covers over the electrical outlets, I put all them on. The staining of the not footboards, what do you call it around the bottom?
Baseboards.
Baseboards, there you go. I sat on the boys' skateboard and scooted down the hallways and around the rooms, putting the stain on the baseboards.
Now, could you do that today? I bet you could.
I could probably do that today. You might need a forklift to get up. But just so many wonderful memories. I remember when the fan was put up down in the conference room, Hubert Gregory, the town mayor at that point in time, had been a volunteer and had gotten hurt working down here and was on crutches, and he used his crutch to help support the bottom of the fan when Gary Whitaker was up there installing the fan in the conference room.
That was nearly, well, when the first meetings were held and the at ACES and all that, that's been more than 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. What's kept you around this long? What's kept you here this long?
This is my church. Yeah.
And both of your boys have been involved since day one?
Yes. Yes. David actually helped Gary wire the church.
Awesome. I know this is a loaded question, but where do you see Maplewood Baptist Church in the next 5 years?
I hope that we will be able to get young couples and young families, because that's the future of our church. And right now we don't have that many young families, but I'm hopeful that will happen. I think those of us who have been around from day one want to see Maplewood continue. God has had a reason for doing what was done 30 years ago, and He's not finished yet with Maplewood.
Let's say that you and I and Jeannie and the boys and Jason and David and their families are out, and we come across one of those young couples that are looking for a home church. What do you say to them?
Come to Maplewood.
What's your pitch? What's your sales pitch, so to speak?
I don't have a sales pitch. I just try to let them see that I'm interested in them and want them to have a church home. I don't want to take anyone from another church to come here, but if someone does not have a church home, give us a try. Like that old saying, try it, you'll like it.
Anything else you'd like to add? Anything in particular?
Well, one thing that I'm pleased about is the fact that the people that are here, it's a family feel. It's not come in, sit down, get up, and walk out. It's a true family feel, and I hope when people come to visit that they get that feeling and that we genuinely care. Not that we're trying to browbeat them into coming here, but that they see what we're like and they like what they see. And so I guess that would be my sales pitch.
Do you have a favorite Bible verse?
Ecclesiastes. We're at 3:11. Is that the right numbers? I may not remember the right numbers. Where God's love is new every morning. That's very true.
All right, cool.
I think it's 3:11.
Good deal. Perfect.
That's it?
Yep. You want to talk some more?
Well, it's just 10 minutes till 10. I didn't mean on this thing. Just us.
Oh, what a camera hog.
If you're looking for a church home,
or do you want to be part of a family?
If you're looking for a place to grow.
If you're looking for a place to worship.
If you have questions about your faith.
If you'd like to talk to somebody about being a Christian.
Come see us at Maplewood.